Welcome back to Instructions for Humanity. I'm picking it back up in another video. Guys, we're talking about Operation Time Warp. Operation Time Warp. What is this? Well, it has been brought into my field of awareness that when we do the daylight savings time, this is how they manipulate our timelines, our energy, and even our genetic programming. They go in there during this time and they do updates. They update our code. But the trick is they can only update the code according to your free will. So during this time, guys, this is about to get deep. During this time, subscribe, guys, subscribe to the channel, Tahirah, Mother of the Ages. During this time where they're about to change this time on us, daylight savings time is November 5th. It's coming up. Guys, this is how we are about to jump to our new timeline. They've been keeping, this is one of the tools that this tricky matrix uses to keep us on a perpetual time loop, guys. I'm going to go slow, take my time during this video. I don't want to miss anything. Operation Time Warp is what we're about to tap into. I'm about to tap into this mentally to pull some more information about what's going on and what's been going on and why they've been changing these times on us. So it's a push and a pull energy is what I'm getting. I'm just getting all this stuff right now. It's a push and a pull. So I guess I think in March or April, whenever they first change the times back, and then they move the time forward, they change it back, and I think in November they move it forward, so you gain an hour. It depends on where you live, but where I live, we're going to gain an hour. This is how they manipulate time. But see, it's not the time that they are manipulating, because they know there's no real such thing as time. It's the objects within the time and space itself that they are manipulating. And you are one of those objects. We are in this field, in this matrix field, and we are all pieces in this grid. And so when they manipulate this time, it's not really time that they know there's no time. See, what it is, guys, cosmically, there's a thing called a cosmic time clock. Is when the energy changes. So what they're doing is they're manipulating energy. If you can have someone gain an hour and they sleep an extra hour, they have a different energy, that they have woken up with more energy. So you have manipulated their energy, and vice versa. If you take an hour away from them and they are sleeping less, then they are under a different energy. Now you have manipulated their energy. So this is what they're doing. They are manipulating our energy, which is the real way that we tell time. That's how when you're in a place and the energy shift, and you be like, it's time to go. Time to get my butt up out of here. Look like some trouble about to pop off. That's a cosmic time clock, guys. Just if you didn't know, now you know what it is. That's what we always talk about. That is, it's crazy. It's time to go. It's time. Everybody knows when it's time energetically, and that's really what a time clock is. But see, they have been manipulating our energy by changing these times. And even if you're in a place, you're like, we don't do a time change here, because there are certain states and certain places that they don't do it. But see, everything around you has changed. People are still traveling in and out of that place, bringing in their different energy. So your energy is absolutely affected as well. This is the time warp that we've been in. And guys, I'm going to tell you what they're doing with the timelines. It's very important. They're about to trick you to get you back looped up on a timeline that is disagreeable to you. Guys, if you want to book a session with me, I can help you get onto the correct timeline. I don't care, girl, if you feel that you've never been on the correct timeline. I'll put you back in the womb and we will reverse engineer your path to get you back on the correct timeline. Email me instructions, the number 4, humanity@gmail.com, guys. So they're giving us 3 options right now of timelines. Very important. Now, your past is always a viable option, because the code of the past has already been coded. That's the easy one, right? That's the one they really want you to choose, you know, to go back to past relationships, to go back to a past job, to go back to a past energy. That's how they keep you looped up. So the past is always a viable option, because it's easy for these beings that run this matrix. They already have the code already mapped out to that, right? And you are already energetically attached to that past, right? Because of course we know that we've learned that what they use your love, compassion, empathy against you in this matrix. They use your heart chakra. They use that against us here to keep us all binded and tied up and looped up with people that we shouldn't be on timelines with. So the past is number one. It's always a viable option. Now, knowing what I know about this matrix happens in threes. That's how this code is set up. That's why when people pass away, they pass away in threes. Do you ever notice that? So 3 is one of the codes in the matrix. So 3, 6, 9. So in terms of like timelines and people entering and exiting the world, and even 3 main things changing in your life at the same time. You know, you might get a new job, you might have a new relationship, you might, you know, whatever, experience another life-changing event. Maybe a parent passed away or something like that. So they always keep it going on in threes. So past is a viable option, always. Then they're going to give you another option that's going to look like the past, but it's going to look like the version of the past that you wanted. Right? So this is how you're going to be tricked, right? So you're going to be tricked to hop onto this new timeline. So let's just say, for instance, you are on a timeline. Now these timelines, how long do they last? Cycles. They last number 9. Like I told you, set up in 3, 6, 9. 3 different options. 9 years of cycling. By the 10th year, whatever you were doing, you're out of that. If you were in a relationship, if the relationship is going to end that cycle, it's going to end at that 9-10 year mark, that cycle period, or before that, right? So number 9 is also a code too. So they're going to give you the version of what you thought you should have had in the past. So if you were in a relationship and everything was going good and you had all these high hopes and plans and dreams, and then all of a sudden it went to hell, and then you left that situation, but now here comes marching in your life something that looks very similar, very familiar to the old code, to the old program that you were used to running for all those years, those 2 years, 5 years you were in that relationship. It's going to look similar, but it's going to look better. So you're going to be like, this is what I should have had. It's a trick. It's a matrix trick, because you already, there's a thing called transference. And we have this in hypnotherapy. When you can transfer, the client transfers their feelings of whatever they're feeling. They transfer it to you, you know, and it could be a good thing or a bad thing. They could transfer good feelings to you and want you to embody that, and now, you know, want you to have this energetic connection with them, or it could be a bad transference, but nevertheless, it's a transference of energy. And so you do want to stop working with that client at that time. But see, this is what they're doing with these timelines. Because you already had all those hopes and plans with that old person, the old timeline, that old code, and you see this new one that looks very similar, but it looks like the life that you should have had back then, you're going to transfer all of those feelings that you've built up for that past person or place or thing. You're going to transfer it over to the new timeline. You haven't even gotten there. You haven't even built up to those feelings for this person, to that skill set level that you were at that old job. But you have transferred everything from the old genetic code, the old timeline, because it looks very similar. So you're like, I can just jump to this timeline and I can just pick up where I left off. And so that's going to be your trick. Just pay attention right now. And I'm telling you, you need to spot these fake timelines before this time changes. This is the time warp. I'm seeing when this happens, when this November 5th happens, when they change these times, I'm seeing like a blurriness. Like, you know, you look, it's like a fairy tale, right? You know how you look in the mirror, like if you're in like a Disney movie, they look in the mirror and all of a sudden the mirror starts to get blurry. Then all of a sudden they're portaled through like to a new place. This is what I'm seeing that they are doing to the people, this ritual that they've been doing on us this whole entire time. And so they are giving us a false timeline to jump to. It's a transference. Thank you, Spirit. It's a transference timeline. So they got your past timeline is always a viable option. They always want to get you looped up back to the past. But the next best option that they can do after that is to give you a transference, where you just naturally transfer all of that hopes, dreams, and everything that you wanted that old timeline to be. You transfer it over to the new one, which looked very similar to transference timeline. Then there's going to be another timeline, right? The third timeline is the actual timeline you're supposed to be on. Now, this timeline is going to be the timeline that does not involve anyone but the sovereign I am. It's going to be a timeline that is about you. It's going to look selfish even. It's going to be your highest divine timeline. It's going to be a scary timeline. It's going to be a timeline that you don't have the code to. You have not navigated this before. Maybe a little bit, maybe little aspects and attributes of it, but you have never navigated this before. Therefore, it's like you're driving a car at night. You can only see a few feet in front of you. You have to wait for the rest to be revealed, right? Because it's nighttime outside and all you have is those high beams, which will only allow you to see a certain amount of feet in front of you. That's your highest and best timeline. It is the unseen. That's your matching up with the aspect of creation that is the potentiality, is in the darkness, right? So this is what I'm saying. This is going to look like the road, the path that is least untraveled. It's not going to be very familiar. You're not going to have all the code to this. This is the actual timeline that you are actually supposed to be on. So they're going to trick you with the past showing back up. They're going to trick you with something similar that looks like the past, but it looks like the better version and the version that you always should have had. That's a matrix trick. Do not fall for it. I'm telling you, when this date comes, you stay away from these people on these other two timelines. Turn your phone off. Don't even go and do the same things. Go just switch up your routine. As a matter of fact, you just sit there in meditation. Make sure you get to the right timeline. So what you want to be doing on this date is this new timeline that's scary, that is the sovereign I am timeline. The timeline is made just for you. All the rest of the characters have not been rolled out. Let's say, for instance, I'll give you an example. If you got a new job, right, in a new state or a new country, right, you don't know anything about that country. You might know one person there, you might know, your colleagues or whatever, but you have very little data. You have to wait for the rest to be rolled out. This is what you want because it's a fresh code, the code that you create. It's not a code that someone else has already created and it's already in the matrix system. Right? It's already there for you to just be plugged back into. You want to actually be creating your code, right? And so that's why you need to travel on the sovereign I am path timeline. And it's not going to be, it's going to be the unseen. You're not going to have all the answers to this highest and best timeline. This is how you have to just be, to trust yourself, right? You have to understand that these other two timelines are false matrix timelines. It wants to loop you back up here, put you back in soul ties, tie you in the karmic goo, for another 9-10 year cycle. And then what, right? Then you have to end up right back here all over again. So I'm just trying to tell you how to jump these timelines. So just look in your life and see what timelines is going on, what people are entering and exiting. Do not get wrapped up with someone from your past during this time, November 5th. Like I said, just hold all negotiations. No marriages during this time, y'all. No, don't make any business decisions during this time. Get to the new timeline. Get to the sovereign I am timeline. That's where you need to be. It's going to be a timeline where you are creating the code. So this is truly how you manifest, because everything is fresh, everything is new. Whatever you think of starts to now play out in this new timeline. The other timeline, all of the other objects and things you used to do, it's already been decided. There's variables within that. Okay, maybe we used to have this for dinner. Let's switch up and have this for dinner. But eventually you go back to having the other thing for dinner because it's already part of the code. But this one is new, it's fresh. And if you've ever wanted to have a new life, a life that you've always dreamt of, you cannot go to these other timelines. You cannot go to the transference timeline just because it looks similar. So what I'm saying is you've got to break out of yourself, break out of that code that you've been running, that old genetic program that you have been running, the old matrix program that you have been running. You have to get to the sovereign I am path. You have to get to the dark path, the path that is not lit up. You can only see a few feet in front of you and then the rest will be revealed. That's the path, that's the timeline that's going to lead to actually of what you've always wanted. But they've been sitting here manipulating our energy for all this time. And I can't believe that it took me this long to figure this out. But these daylight savings is a time warp. They are manipulating the energy on this earth so that you will be going back to old timelines that no longer serve you, to old people, to the old things you used to do, to keep you stagnant so that you do not evolve. They want you there, and if they can't get you back to the past timeline, they will create a duplicate timeline, but it will look better. It will be a transfer, and you will just transfer everything, all of your heart, emotions, and soul, and memories, and transfer it onto the new timeline, and that's going to be false as well. Want to get to the sovereign I am timeline, guys. You should not have seen this. It needs to just be fresh. It's something that you're going to create. You're going to create as you're going, right? You're going to have a starting point to get started, but the rest is going to truly unfold day by day, month by month, year by year. And it's going to be a very beautiful timeline to be on, guys. And the reason why they do this time change during this season, it's called what? Cupping season, where people want to be all spooned up and cupped up, or I think that's what they call it, cupping season or something like that. That's why everybody's like, oh, let me just get back with my old boo, because you know it's cold outside. I want somebody to keep me warm. It's a trick. They want to keep you on the old timeline. Do not talk to these people from your past during this time. Do not even talk to this new timeline that looks very similar to the past. Just hold off. I'm telling you, do not get married during this time. Don't even get a divorce during this time. Hold off all life changes and negotiations until after this point. Go within and pick the sovereign path. It looks like the selfish path. It looks like the path that is not known. You haven't traveled this path before. And it makes sense because the matrix is circular, it's set up in circles inside of circles, loops inside of loops. So if you own the same, another timeline that looks very similar, you're going, it's easy to spot. If it looks like a duck and quack quack, like a duck, girl, it's the old timeline, just the remix 2.0 version of it. So you need to jump the timeline. You need to get to the spirit is saying the sovereign I am timeline. And everything will be given to you for this purpose, to accomplish this. You might be like, I don't have enough money to achieve this. I don't know what to do with my kids if we have to move and to achieve this. You can't worry about that. And that's why the other two paths, timelines, are going to be so appealing for you. But it's going to keep you in the karmic goo. You have an opportunity to break the karmic goo and sludge right now. Right? And so they use cupping season and all these holiday rituals. Oh, I got to be around family. I can't break up with him now, girl, because, you know, who gonna cook the turkey, you know, for Thanksgiving? I can't break up with him right now. It's his birthday. Can't break him up with on his own birthday or on Christmas, or on New Year's, or on Valentine's Day. I did break up with somebody on Valentine's Day before, though. Right on Valentine's Day. Oh, he was a demon. He was an absolute demon. But anyways, y'all, this is what spirit is telling me, and there's so much more I could say about this, but yeah, if we're going to get to these new timelines, guys, we're going to have to stop being tricked by all this matrix stuff. We're going to have to start seeing what it is. If something looks like a circle, something looks like something that you can't get out of, if it looks like the old timeline, it's just a continuation of the circle, of the lesson. That's what this is. The matrix is a game of circles. Lessons within lessons, circles within circles. So you need to choose that straight and narrow path. The straight and narrow path, guys, is the path that is the sovereign I am path. It's the path that is just made for one person. The moment you try to bring someone on that path with you, the path now becomes too wide, and then guess what? That's what they say. The path is narrow. The path that leads to the divine is narrow because it's the sovereign I am path. So what I'm saying is you want to jump timelines and not get caught up in their little time warp. Then you need to choose the sovereign I am path, the straight and narrow path that is made just for you. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave this right here. But guys, subscribe, guys. And then, you know, book a session with me, past life regression, quantum healing. Guys, it's a one and done situation. where we can go in and we can heal these timelines, put you on the right timeline, put your life back in order. I don't care what you're suffering through, what you've been going through. I don't care if you have ailments. I don't care what. It can all be made well, guys. Book a session with me. But I'm going to get out of here, guys. Love is the way. Forgiveness is the key. Truth is the absolute light that guides us home. Be well. Be well, guys.